Hello, Freedom Preppers. Perrin Lovett here for Prepper News Weekly for Friday, March 30th, 2018. Happy Good Friday, happy Holy Friday, everyone. And this is take two. Had some telephone camera issues, which I like because that gives me the opportunity to rehearse and do better on the subsequent takes. So hopefully without needing take number 3, here we go. There's a lot going on. As I said, today is Holy Friday. Well, actually, it's tomorrow. I'm pre-recording again on a Thursday so I can get the best quality for you. And as always, if anything breaks, there'll be a link put up at freedompreppernews.com. Always check that out. And also, I did the first take driving, which some people seem to like the other day, but makes it hard to read from my little script. So anyway, here we go. Today, Friday, is Good Friday, celebrated by Christians all across the world, and with very good reason. The entrance into the Easter weekend, and I'm going to get to that shortly, because there's so much madness going on here, there, and yon. It's nice to have the knowledge that all of this craziness has happened before, and that there's an end game to it, and there's a higher power at work. So much lately I've been talking and writing about guns in America. Gun control, the Second Amendment. We got old man Stevens wants to repeal the Second Amendment, which I covered in another video and a couple articles. And I saw last night, that Larry King piled on and said, just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. It was only put into place to keep slaves down, keep them from owning arms. There's a new article out at Freedom Prepper News, a little blurb where I blow that idiotic argument to pieces. And we've got a moving tree behind us. I wonder if it's a guy in a ghillie suit coming to exact a little revenge for the gun control nuts. Bring it. But with Stevens and with King speaking out, they got me thinking. First, with the march against guns, we had all the youth, the young people of America, who are young, naive, and misguided, most of them. They're passionate, but they don't tend to have the facts. They just go on pure emotion. And they, while we should listen to some of them, we really shouldn't let them dictate policy. That's the young. Well, now it seems like we have the old piling on. I think Stevens and King together add up to about 700 years, maybe 800. I'm not sure. What is this? Is this like the flu bug, where the very young and the very old are most susceptible? Are we going to start seeing cases of people with pre-existing conditions coming down with a case of red communism, gun control bug? I hope not. Anyway, enough said about the guns, except for a quote. Last night I was talking to a friend, banding about some ideas for the show, and we came up with some previous gun control quotes and quotes about guns in America. And the one I decided to run with was Yamamoto's famous quote. He was the fleet admiral and commander-in-chief of the Japanese Navy during World War II, and he famously said, "You can't invade the American mainland because there would be a rifle behind every blade of grass." Now, I wanted to check and make sure that he was actually a fleet admiral, and I think this was said in 43 or 44. So I went online, Googled it, and something funny happened. A lot of these big media companies, any kind of search or inquiry, they direct you immediately to a leftist page or perspective. The first thing that came up about that quote was a fact-check site that said it was bogus. And they cited, there was no record of it, no written record, and they had a historian, a specialist in Pearl Harbor history, who said that there was no written record. He had looked through MacArthur's archives, the Japanese archives, no written record, no audio, no way to verify it, no way to know the time and the date, and therefore it was bogus. And that's how they left it. This quote in favor of firearms is bogus. And you don't need that quote to know that sentiment is true. We're just, then and now, we're just too heavily armed as a people to invade. Don't know if we've got the willpower to fight back now. We sure had it then. But I got to thinking about the liberals and their scientific approach to things like that. If that quote is bogus because you can't find an exact written record, the time and day it was said, well then things like the Big Bang Theory are also bogus because there's no written record of it anywhere. Nobody saw it. They can't even put a time and a date on it. Nor can they put a time and date on most things in history which went unrecorded. You can't really put a time and date on the first sunrise or whether there's going to be a sunrise tomorrow. There's a lot that escapes science. A lot that they do good, but sometimes you got to look at other means of persuasion. Scientists just discovered something new about the human body. After all these thousands or millions or billions or many long years, however long it's been, you'd think we'd know the human body pretty well, especially medical science. But they just discovered we have an organ that they didn't know about called the interstitium. You have one, so do I. Welcome to the interstitium world. It's a transport system, kind of like the lymphatic pathways in the body. They think it may be one of the largest organs in the body, and it may carry up to 1/5 of all the body's fluid. And they suppose that it may act as kind of a shock absorber when you move around the fluid as a cushion, kind of like gel sole shoes all over, almost like an intelligent design or something. They're looking into whether this is part of the proliferation of cancer cells, and if there's some way to fight cancer with it. New things they're learning every day, and it's a good thing. Bad things may be coming to America. I've hinted around about some rumors that I've heard. I'm sure you've heard them too, about the storm. Not a weather storm, but a political storm. And rumors frequently are just that. But we may be getting some facts to kind of substantiate this idea that there is a deep state. It exists, and it serves itself at the expense of the people and the rule of law. I just put out a link today to a Fox News piece about some revealing conversations coming out of this FBI Strzok investigation, some texts that go a long way towards suggesting a conspiracy between the FBI, the CIA, maybe the prior administration, the whole deep state, against Trump, against the rule of law. Who knows where this is going to lead? It may lead nowhere. We'll find out. But I get the feeling that it's going to be a rather interesting spring and summer. And if half, even half, or 10% of the rumors I'm hearing are true, you may be glad that you're a prepper, if it all comes to pass. Well, we've had some other storms too, nor'easters, even into early spring. Storms on Wall Street. I was just watching CNBC this morning, and experts are saying that, hey, maybe we're in a whole new phase of economic activity, and there's just going to be ups and downs inexplicably forever. Different sectors constantly going up and down. Get used to the roller coaster. Yeah, we'll just leave that alone. That's how we like our economy. A roller coaster, like our bogus history and our fake gun control platitudes. Let's see here. Don't tell me I have already marched through everything I had scheduled on the news. It's been a big, busy week, and I put out a lot of stories. I want you to check those out, freedompreppernews.com. Check the video earlier where I took on former Justice of the Supreme Court, John Paul Stevens, and his argument for repealing the Second Amendment, which is going to go nowhere, and is based on a bunch of just pure idiotic lies. It was an embarrassment. I thought he would be the very best that their side had to offer, and he literally offered nothing. And there's a lot in the world that offers nothing, but we're coming this weekend to a season and a reminder that it's really not worth worrying about. Now, this is Good Friday, and Sunday, April 1st, is Easter. It also happens to be the kickoff of Masters Week. If you're a golf fan, they're actually having the Drive, Chip, and Putt Championship, I think, on Sunday afternoon up at the Augusta National. All of the kids from across the country competing. And then, of course, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we have the practice rounds. Thursday through Sunday, the greatest golf tournament in the world. But the weekend and the season is not about golf, and it's not about worrying about political storms, weather storms, guns, crazy people, body parts, history, science, or anything like that. It's about Jesus Christ dying on a cross for your sins and rising from the dead. He is risen. He will come again in glory. And therefore, no matter how bad it gets, just remember that these things have all happened before. History repeats itself. In past times, it's all been worse at some point for some people. It's always been worse. But there's a higher power at work. We've got a lot of dark forces on planet Earth pushing their agendas and somebody else's agenda, maybe from down below, a place that the Pope just said may not exist. But anyway, there's a higher power at work that's going to take care of everything in the end. All we've got to do is look after ourselves and our families and our friends in the here and now. And that's why we're preppers, and that's why I bring you Prepper News every Friday like this. And I can't believe I've already gone through my script. See, that interruption helped. It refined I got it all down, 11 minutes. I can say, again, happy Holy Friday. Have a happy Easter. Good luck, golf fans, next week. And you guys have a great weekend. I will see you back soon.